So, hello. I wanted to introduce what I'm doing in this video before I start playing a podcast, because I can't really draw in silence, so I want to play a podcast while I draw. The idea that I want to do, I want to redraw my avatar, or my profile picture. That's literally it. And normally I do like a Toon Me type thing that looks like this. But I want to try and draw like just a normal portrait for myself. I've never really done it before, so. And there's two pictures. There's this one and this one, and I don't really know which one I want, because I think this would make a better profile picture, but I think this one would be better to draw. So I'm at a loss for I might just try doing both and see which one I prefer. I think I'm just going to finish up this sketch, figure out which picture I want to do, and I'm just going to time-lapse it and listen to a podcast, so this is the part of the video where I completely forgot that I was recording something and I didn't talk to the camera for the rest of the drawing. That's why I decided for this video I'm just going to voice over the whole thing, and I'm going to talk about whether or not you should go to art school or art college, whatever it is. I'm going to be talking from my experience, which is I just finished second year. I'm attending art college in Ireland, so keep that in mind when I go through these points. I'm going to give a small bit of background. If you don't care, just skip it. I don't mind if you skip it. I didn't want to be an artist, when I was in secondary school or when I was in primary school even. I love to draw, but it was just a hobby. And when I was in my final year, halfway through it, that's when I decided I wanted to be an artist. So I had zero portfolio, ready. I had to attend a year course, a PLC, purely for the purpose of building a portfolio for art college. Then after that, I have now done 2 years of actual fine art college, so that's the experience that I have with art college. The reason I'm mentioning all this is because you need to know the reason you're going to art college to decide if it's worth going for what you want to do. For me, I decided I wanted to be a teacher. It is my dream to teach art in a secondary school. That is why I am doing a fine art course, for the purpose of going on to teach. If you're doing it so you can be a freelance artist, it's not really the same weight behind it. You could self-teach yourself to be a freelance artist. You don't need a degree to be that, so you need to know why you're going to art college to decide if it's something that's worth it for you. The first point I'm going to talk about is lecture bias or lecture favoritism. Something you just have to accept is that not every lecturer is going to like you. Every lecturer's opinion of you is going to be different. You're not going to like every lecture. And because of this, that lecturer's opinion of you might hinder how they see your art. Now, I'm not saying my lectures did this to me. I'm not saying my lecture showed any favoritism towards anyone in our class, but it is important to note that it is a thing that's going to happen, where if a lecturer decides they really don't like you, for whatever reason it is, that might hinder how they critique you, and they might give you some invalid criticism, and you kind of just have to have a thick skin if that's going to happen to you. My second point is going to be that it doesn't necessarily make you a good artist. You're not really going to learn how to be a good artist at art college. It's a very hard thing. I'm not really good at articulating this kind of thing, but you can self-teach yourself everything that you can at art college. You can look up YouTube videos, you can just learn it yourself. I learned colour theory by myself. I learned a lot of things by myself. But being in that environment of art college where you have to learn everything, some people aren't able to self-teach themselves things, and that's okay. If that's the case with you, then art college would be good, where you're in an environment surrounded by other artists and surrounded by lecturers who are going to teach you. They're going to give you some direction, and it's a more stable environment. But my point is that you don't necessarily have to go to art college. Like, don't expect to learn things in art college that you're not going to be able to learn anywhere else. I guess this kind of blends into my next point, which is you don't need to pay someone to teach you how to make art. You can look up references yourself and just draw. Like, it's overused, I know, but the more you draw, the better you'll get. The more time you take drawing, the better you'll get. Like, doing studies, the better you get. Like, I'm sure if you're watching this, you know that you need to practice to be better, and you don't need to pay someone to do that for you. So if you're struggling to pay for the cost of art college, you can build a portfolio in your free time at home. You don't need to pay someone to tell you how to do it. There's plenty of videos out there that teach you how to build a portfolio and teach you the fundamentals of art that you can learn at art college. If you're disciplined enough to teach yourself all that stuff, you can build a solid portfolio and get just as much opportunity as someone who did go to art college. My next point is that lecturers have their own opinion on what good art is. For a big example would be that they don't want to see anime style. They don't want to see manga style. They don't want to see cartoon style. They don't want that. They want like hyper realism. They want stuff you'd put in a museum. They don't want like animation. They don't want Steven Universe style. Like, they want your stuff to be equivalent of, say, Da Vinci. That's at least in my college, that's what you are expected to do. I don't know if I'm going to make this a second point, but if you're into digital art, don't expect for it to be rewarded when you go to fine art college. They don't want digital art. Like, I know it's a preconceived notion that digital art is easier, but that's not the case. And I don't think people who have never done digital art would 100% understand that. The people who say that digital art is easier, I don't think have done digital art. And when you're in a fine art college, they have that notion that if you're doing digital art, it must have only taken you 10 minutes. Oh, one swipe of the brush and the thing is done. It's not, you're using all of the same skills in digital art as you would in traditional. It's just a different medium. But it is a preconceived notion in fine art college that you are, like, it's expected that you're not going to get to do digital art. When I was in first year, I was told that in second year, digital art would be a much more open thing and I would have the opportunity to incorporate it into my practices. Didn't happen. It was an empty promise. So just keep that in mind, that you're not really going to get much of an opportunity to use digital art in a fine art course. This point seems a bit obvious looking back on it, but I do want to mention it, that in fine art college, you are expected to supply yourself with everything that you are going to need. Whether that's paint, whether that's brushes, whether that's printmaking supplies, ceramic supplies, everything. Paper, you are expected to supply yourself with everything. It's a very expensive course to pursue. It is not covered in your college fees unless stated. I expected there to be classroom supplies because there was in my PLC, but that wasn't the case when I went to a fine art course. So you need to expect fees to, on top of course fees, on top of living fees, you need to expect that you're going to be paying for your art supplies, which seems obvious, but I said I'd mention it anyway. So that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope I enjoyed editing, and hopefully some of these points are relevant to you and they help you decide whether or not art college is the right thing for you. Some good things about art college is that you're in an environment full of other artists and it's a good opportunity to immerse yourself in that kind of world. You get a lot of networking out of it too, so it's not all bad. It's not all bad. Again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow me on my social media, which will be at the end of the video, which is right now. Bye!